Welcome to StarWatch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Imagine this. You wake up to headlines naming you, questioning you, defining you. 24 hours later, you step out with a new identity that flips the narrative and lights up the internet. That is the energy surrounding Wong Eba right now, and tonight on StarWatch Now, we unpack how a multi-hyphenate artist turns pressure into purpose with discipline, grace, and a relentless focus on craft. Stay with me to the end for a simple 24-hour challenge that can reboot your week. Wherever you are, from the US, South Korea, Japan, Thailand, Singapore, the Philippines, Australia, France, Canada, Indonesia, and across Europe. In 24 hours, the weather around him changed. The morning began with his name carried by headlines that sought to define him. By nightfall, he answered not with a rebuttal, but with a role. That pivot is not a stunt. It is the visible edge of a deeper discipline, the habit of converting noise into work. When commentary swells, most people defend themselves with more words. Wong Eba reaches for something quieter and harder, the kind of deliverable that leaves no room for quarrel. A performance with purpose. The new identity he unveils is not an escape from scrutiny. It is a reckoning with it. He takes the energy of attention and reroutes it into contribution, exchanging the theater of reaction for the craft of responsibility. In doing so, he reminds audiences that reputation is not repaired in the comment section. It is rebuilt backstage, bar by bar, beat by beat, until the lights come up and the song carries more credence than any statement could. The speed of the turn matters, but the method matters more. Reset quickly, decide what is useful, and move the story forward with something new that did not exist yesterday. This is how a headline becomes a nameplate, not by pleading for goodwill, but by earning it. The lesson, for anyone watching from Seoul to Paris to Toronto, is unglamorous and therefore trustworthy. When the narrative tilts against you, do not flail. Choose the next honest task, complete it, and let the finished work speak in a register louder than noise. 24 hours will never rewrite a life, but they can reset its tempo. In his hands, that day becomes a proof of practice, and practice, repeated, becomes character. In the best performers, pressure does not ignite panic. It clarifies intent. They do not wait for the storm to pass or argue with the rain. They metabolize scrutiny into fuel by applying a small, repeatable set of behaviors that look ordinary in isolation and remarkable in sequence. First comes the reset. A breath, a narrowing of attention, the deliberate choice to respond with work rather than noise. Then they translate feeling into tasks. Verbs, not slogans. Warm the voice, mark the beats, check the lines, run the sequence. Momentum is built in minutes. They timebox effort, close loops, and bank certainties that can withstand doubt. Data is welcomed, never worshipped. A recording played back, a note held cleaner than yesterday. They use it to adjust, not as a cudgel against themselves. This operating system values stillness as much as speed. It prizes posture, breath, and presence. Those quiet controls that let the loud moments ring true. It protects the morning from distraction and the evening from denial. Recovery is not a reward, part of the craft. Crucially, it keeps purpose in front of ambition. The job is not to look invincible, but to make something useful. A performance that carries the room, a scene that belongs to the story, a lap that teaches the next. When the narrative tilts, they do not chase it. They move the work forward by one honest increment, again and again, patiently, until the story has no choice but to notice. To outside eyes, the progress seems sudden. Inside, it is the compound interest of attention. Breath stacked upon breath, bar upon bar, day upon day, quiet labor converting pressure into proof. This is how top performers travel from scrutiny to steadiness. They do not escape the weight. They learn how to carry it and then they move. Hype is loud, but the camera is deaf to it. A lens records choices, not noise. The millimeter of a pupil tightening, the pause before a reply, the breath taken to steady a line. Craft lives in those fractions. It begins with listening, the unfashionable half of acting. The frame registers whether a partner's words actually land. whether the answer grows out of them or arrives prepackaged. It continues with economy. The hand that almost moves and then doesn't, the shoulder that releases tension so the face can speak. In the Untamed, Wong Eba learned to let stillness carry meaning. The rigor is in holding a gaze without hardening it, allowing feeling to pass like weather across the eyes. In being a hero, procedure and pressure sit on the body. You read time through the spine and jaw more than any line of dialogue. Hidden Blade teaches the grammar of silence. When not to blink, when to let air thicken between two syllables. In Born to Fly, the body rides velocity but intention stays calm. Momentum does not replace motive. Between takes, craft looks practical, almost dull. Marking eye lines so the editor can cut, adjusting posture so focus holds, running consonants until diction survives a wide shot and a crowd. He rehearses not to sterilize spontaneity but to earn it. Repetition removes the accidental so the essential can breathe. The camera rewards this patience. It prefers a truth placed cleanly to a flourish thrown loudly. You cannot cheat lens distance, you can only calibrate presence to it, shrink for a close-up, widen the thought for a master, keep the emotional key consistent through coverage. Hype fades when the light's warm. What remains is timing, breath, weight, and the discipline to choose less until what is left is necessary. Racing does not flatter the careless. It punishes wishful thinking with a stopwatch. On the circuit, truth arrives as lap time, tire wear, brake temperature, fuel load, the small brutal arithmetic of margins. What looks like speed from the grandstand is, inside the helmet, a conversation with limits. How much grip remains, how late the brake can be trailed, how wide the car can breathe on exit without wasting a meter. The discipline that grows there is the pit stop mindset, a way of living in short, exact cycles. Act with commitment, pause on purpose, adjust with humility, go again. Telemetry is honest in a way feelings are not. It shows the corner where you turned in early, the lift you pretended you did not take. You learn to welcome feedback because it gives you back time, and time is the only currency the track respects. That same economy travels off the asphalt. A rehearsal becomes a flying lap, a retake a chance to correct steering angle rather than complain about wind. Recovery ceases to be indulgence and becomes part of pace. You box not because you are weak, but because you intend to finish. Teamwork stops being a platitude and turns concrete. Trust the call, hit the marks, release cleanly. Risk is no longer drama. It is managed exposure with escape routes. The craft is in sequencing effort so that the car and the body are strongest when it matters. Most of all, racing teaches you to separate ego from evidence. You do not argue with sector times. You cut the mistake smaller next time. You learn to carry pressure with breathing, to make bravery precise rather than loud. And when the flag falls, the story is not who shouted hardest, but who repeated the right habits under heat, who treated each lap as a chance to earn the next. Singing an anthem, especially one tied to a major sporting event, is not about vocal fireworks. It's about tonal leadership. The task is to carry a crowd, not to drown it. What distinguishes Eba's approach is the balance between clarity and collective spirit. He shapes phrases so lyrics remain intelligible in large spaces. He controls dynamics to match camera movement, and he holds back just enough to let the message breathe. In a world that often shouts to be heard, there's power in measured resonance. Across Seoul, Tokyo, Bangkok, Singapore, Manila, Sydney, Paris, Toronto, Jakarta, viewers are responding not only to success, but to the values beneath it. Hope. A tough headline becomes a meaningful opportunity in 24 hours. The message, you can reset too. Pride. National stage contributions suggest that talent paired with responsibility can travel across cultures with dignity. Belonging. For the multi-passionate who are told to pick a lane, Eba's path says, build the discipline, and you can bridge worlds. This is what we call the bridge effect, the moment when consistency, courtesy, and effort become a shared language the world understands. To see how this new identity makes sense, map the road behind it. Actor. From the silence-heavy restraint in the Untamed to the intensity of being a hero, he's grown from holding attention to directing it. Host. Early stints on Day Up taught camera timing, rhythm, and audience reading skills that translate to live performance. Singer. Recordings and stage appearances have progressively favored storytelling over showiness, a perfect foundation for Anthem work. Racer, data, intervals, and pressure management became transferable tools for every other craft. Collectively, these aren't random detours. They are load-bearing beams in the same structure. Not every victory trends. Some are invisible but decisive. Smoother breath control rather than louder notes. Cleaner stage turns instead of flashier tricks. Smarter rest rather than non-stop noise. Sharper line readings in rehearsal, even when the camera isn't rolling. Over time, the quiet metrics decide the loud outcomes. That is why 24 hours can feel like a lifetime in the hands of someone who practices the right habits daily. It's meaningful when respected figures see the work. Whether it's Tony Leung Chiu Wai noting professional growth, or senior actors like Wang Jinsong speaking to potential, or veterans such as Kai Ming praising diligence, each observation is another layer of social proof. And yes, Yang Qianxi, Jackson Yi, appears in this headline because the moment has a wider cultural context. Artists of the same generation recognizing the power of discipline over distraction. That resonance is larger than any single project. From North America to East Asia and Europe, audiences align on a few big ideas. Excellence doesn't shout. It shows up. Responsibility is attractive. Consistency outlasts hype. When a performer answers scrutiny with contribution, it feels healthy, even healing, for a global audience that's tired of empty arguments. The internet doesn't just want noise. It wants proof of work. Let's turn inspiration into action. Pick one of these and try it in the next 24 hours. The micro win. Write 200 words, stretch for 10 minutes, or tidy one shelf. Small wins reset momentum. Pit stop productivity. Set a 15-minute timer. Tackle one task. Stop, breathe, review, repeat once. 2 crisp laps beat 1 unfocused hour. Anthem Mindset Playlist. Build a 3-track curve, calm focus lift, and use it before your next presentation, workout, or study session. Tell us in the comments what you picked and what changed. When organizers choose you to carry a message, not just perform, it means trust. It suggests that behind the brand image is a reliable professional who will turn up prepared, collaborate respectfully, and serve the moment. That matters more than any chart position. It says to the next generation of artists, make yourself useful to the story, the team, and the audience. The spotlight will take care of itself. The question isn't what will Wong Eba do next, but how will he keep growing? Acting. Roles that reward micro-expression, physical nuance, and listening on camera. Music. Performances that favor clarity of message and a grounded stage presence. Sport. Measured risks, meaningful gains, and training cycles that inform everything else. No prophecy, no hyperbole, just the same quiet system. Rehearse. Measure. Refine. Repeat. This program is commentary and analysis based on publicly available information. We do not show confidential materials. We respect artists, creative teams, sporting bodies, and event organizers. Please support official releases and licensed platforms. In a world that rushes to label you, answering with work is a radical act. 24 hours is not a miracle window. It's an invitation. Start small, start honest, and start now. If this episode gave you a lift, please subscribe to StarWatch Now, hit the notification bell, and share this video with a friend who needs a 24-hour reset. Comment below. Which role inspires you most? Actor, singer, or racer? And why? Drop your country flag, globe showing Europe, Africa so we can see where you're watching from. Thank you for spending time with us today. Stay curious, stay kind, and we'll see you in the next one.